Today is the 17th of Tammuz, and 17 is Gematria Tov. 9 plus 6 plus 2. Tov. And today is one of the worst days in Jewish history. That's why it's Gematria Tov. Because Judaism believes that through breaking, we can rebuild. So why is it Tov? Why is the 17th of Tammuz really the greatest day ever that got messed up? What was meant to happen on the 17th of Tammuz? That was Tisha B'Av, coming up to that. What was meant to happen? Moshe came down with the tablets. We're about to receive the tablets of stone. What an amazing day. Everyone heard God speak at Mount Sinai. Moshe goes up the mountain. He's up there for 40 days. He's coming down now with the tablets of stone, which are meant to be the ketubah. Do you know what a ketubah is? You're going to have one day. Be'ezrat Hashem. The right woman at the right time. Be'ezrat Hashem. I'll be there. Be'ezrat Hashem. In Israel. Be'ezrat Hashem. And you have this document of commitment. I'm committed to you. I love you. And that was it. There's an amazing thing that's about to happen. And then we cheated. We cheated on our lover. They're crazy. 40 days after the wedding, cheated on the lover. So what happened was Moshe smashed it. Bam. And there are many different midrashim. Some say that he didn't smash it. It was so heavy, but because it had these divine power in it, they kind of carried him. He wasn't really carrying it. And then the spiritual power left him, so he dropped it. But really the general understanding is he smashed it. Some people say because he was so disgusted by what he saw. Some people say because he wanted to say that we weren't actually married yet. There is not a ketubah. As soon as we handed over the ketubah, now we're really married. But he smashed it before Hashem. And if you see the beginning of the Ten Commandments, it's in the singular. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. I am Hashem, your God. So Moshe said he was only talking to me. He wasn't talking to anyone else. So it's not their fault. They didn't have to do. But really, why did Moshe actually smash the luchot? There are many reasons, but our deeper Sfarim teach it's not just because he saw what they were doing. It's because he saw how happy they were. It's the same thing as in Purim. Purim, the problem wasn't that it wasn't that we had the meal of Achashverosh, it's that we enjoyed the meal. So this is teaching us a very, very big idea. That we're not perfect. Well, you guys are not perfect. You guys aren't perfect. You'll get there one day. But you're not perfect. But that's okay. You don't need to be perfect. And you're going to mess up. But if you enjoy messing, if you're like, you know what, I messed up, that's just what, I'm not perfect. That's the problem. Because if you don't feel any remorse about the fact that you messed up, you're never going to grow. So the whole purpose of life and relationship is growth, connection, intimacy. That's why we're here. So once we mess that up and we're happy about it and it doesn't seem to bother us at all and it doesn't really hurt us in any way, then there's a problem. Then we don't have any relationship. So the Mishnah, Tainus Perek Daled, the 4th chapter of Tainus, Mishnah Vav says this: Chamisha devarim er'u et avotenu b'shiv'a asa b'Tammuz. 5 things happened to our ancestors on the 17th of Tammuz. V'chamisha b'Tisha B'Av, and 5 things on Tisha B'Av. B'shiv'a asa b'Tammuz nishtabru aluchot. On the 17th of Tammuz, smash the luchas. Bam. That's a crazy thing to do. But what's so amazing and wonderful about the fact that we smashed the luchot? We got another set. And with the other set better? Yeah. Much better. It was much better. The other set, why was the other set much better? Because it was a partnership. The first set was just Hashem made them, wrote on them, did everything. The second set, Hashem says, Moshe, you've got to go and get the stones and everything, and I'll write on them. So the second step was higher because it was a partnership. Now, very often, when a relationship is fixed, it's stronger than it was before it was broken. Now, that doesn't mean you should go and try and break your relationships. But often, I say to my students when they're dating, because other people say to them, look, it feels so good, you've just made each other so exciting, everything's great, get engaged now before something, you face an issue. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, don't get engaged until you faced an issue and overcome it and communicate it and realize we can work on this, because you're going to have brokenness in your relationships, and if you don't know how to work on your brokenness in your relationships, then you're not going to have good relationships. So I always say to my students, don't try and ruin the relationship person you're dating with, but there's no need to rush, and just because everything's great, you just don't know. So that's the test of a relationship. Can we rebuild? Can we come back from the relationship? So luchot, bad, ba opened the way for something bigger. And that took a little bit of remorse. Someone wrote to me yesterday. He said, I know that there's guilt and I know that there's shame. And one of them is good and one of them is bad. Which one's good and which one's bad? What do you think? Guilt and shame.
Guilt is good.
Guilt is good?
Yeah.
And shame is bad? Really? Pardon? I said neither. I said I don't like guilt or shame. I like remorse. Charata. Guilt and shame is, I feel bad about myself. I feel bad. Like, guilt and shame are generally quite disempowering. Whereas remorse is meant to be empowering. Remorse is meant to be like, I'm so connected to God. I'm a Jew. I'm so good. I don't like letting myself down. And that feeling of pain that I get when I let myself down is pushing me and motivating me to do better. And I've said this to you guys a lot. I think the ultimate motivating factor in your life is how I feel about myself. How I feel about myself. When I do the wrong thing, I just don't feel good about myself. And when I do the right thing, I feel good about myself. So that should be our motivating factor. So remorse is, I don't feel good about myself when I do the wrong thing. So I do the wrong thing, but guilt, and shame, they're very heavy words. Remorse is better. The next one, uvatal hatamid. The next thing, out of our 5 things that happened on the 17th of Tammuz, the offering, the daily offering was stopped in the temple. Did you know there was a temple over there? Less than 2,000 years ago. There's a temple up there. Amazing. And in the temple, one of the things we did in the temple was the avodah, and the avodah was korbanot, and as we said it many times in our classes, the korbanot were offering up our animalistic nature to God. That's why God doesn't need us to kill animals, but every time we do a sin, every time we do something bad, every time we put other people down, every time we put ourselves down, it's because we were overtaken by a ruach shtut. The Gemara says, Ein adam choteh ele im nichnas bo ruach shtut. You'd never do anything wrong unless you just went crazy. You just went crazy for a moment. It wasn't you. Every time you did anything wrong in your life, it wasn't you. You have to take responsibility for it, but it wasn't you. This external force called the Yetzer Hara, called your animal nature, it overtook you. And that's why you did it. That's why you shouldn't feel shame or guilt. You should actually feel the opposite. You should feel good about yourself, that it bothers you that you're not being who you want to be, and get stronger. So the Korban HaTamid was a daily offering, twice a day. We used to bring every single day. There's a whole midrash about what's the most important pasuk in the Torah. What's the most important verse in the Torah? So some people said, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. There are many different opinions, but the one that wins is the Korban HaTamid. Why? Because you've got to be consistent. Just be consistent. I'm consistently showing up for my avodah. I'm consistently not letting myself down. Saw one of my students yesterday in the park. I haven't seen him for a long time. And I said to him, do you trust yourself? I said, what an amazing feeling if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I actually trust myself, that I'm going to do the right thing in every circumstance. I know I'm going to do the right thing. It's an amazing, strong place to be. Doesn't matter what everyone else is doing. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of me. I just trust myself. I trust myself. Do you trust yourself? I trust you. It's very important, by the way, to tell your children how much you trust them. Like Binyamin. I say, I trust you, Binyamin. I know you're a good kid, and then he wants to live up to that. If he feels that I trust him, he wants to be that kid. So the Korban HaTamid, because we were under siege, And we were under siege, so we couldn't get the animals to bring the Korban HaTamid. So it broke this connection to Hashem, because it was a cathartic experience of giving up our animal nature to Hashem. Why is that not a terrible thing? It's a terrible thing. It's the 17th of Tammuz. It's a terrible thing. But why is it not that terrible? Because now that we don't know the Korban HaTamid, we have tefillah. We have Shachris and Mincha. And Shachris and Mincha is how we connect to Hashem now in a very, very, very deep way. And that's Tamid. Shachris, you're going to daven Shachris every day for the rest of your life. Is that overwhelming and daunting and scary? Or is it like, that's amazing? I'm going to put on my tefillin, I'm going to say the Shema, I'm going to daven Shachris with a minyan as well. I'm going to have 9 other brothers with me. Together we're going to say these words. You know who else daven Shachris every day in a minyan? Rav Moshe Feinstein, the Chavetz Chaim, the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Kook, the Vilna Gaon, the Arizal, the Rambam, Rashi. Now everyone since this happened, basically everyone since this happened has been davening Shemona Esrei, Shachris and Mincha every single day. And you're in that crew. You're the continuation of the greatest people who ever walked the face of the planet, saying the same words that they've been saying for 3,000, 2,000 years. That's a beautiful, amazing thing. Imma amim sheyachol lekalkel, ta'amim sheyachol letaken. Rabbi Nachman says, if you believe that you can mess things up, then you've got to believe you can rebuild stuff. We're going to rebuild stuff. V'havka'ah ha'ir. What does that mean? The walls were breached. After, I think in the second Beit HaMikdash, Yerushalayim b'chorban sheni, in the second Beit HaMikdash, the walls were breached after the siege, and our walls are our is gvura, it's our protection, our spiritual protection. Those are our walls. We have a pasha coming up, Shoftim. Shoftim or Shotrin. You have to put judges and guards on all your gates in your cities. That's the literal meaning. And all the deepest Sfarim say it means on the gates of your face. You have 7 gates. Did you know you have 7 gates on your face? Because of the menorah in the Beit HaMikdash, you had 7 lights. So the 7 gates and 7 lights of your face are 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, and a mouth. Those are your gates. So Judaism teaches it very, 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 very important to have guards on the walls. Oh, you said Slichot today? Oh, I need a Siddur. It doesn't matter. At the very beginning of Slichot, the first thing we said for the 17th of Tammuz was, don't be silent. Scream at Hashem, don't be silent until he rebuilds Jerusalem. Did you read that? Did you see that? I've been doing that for 18 years. I didn't ever notice it properly before. Just this morning I was like, that is amazing. We're screaming. We're like, do not leave Hashem alone until he rebuilds Jerusalem. It's amazing. We were just learning in the Tefillah class, it says in the Yerushalayim bracha, Ka'asher dibata, as you said Hashem, there's one thing you can force Hashem to do. Do you know what that is? Build Jerusalem. Isn't that amazing? The one thing you force him, you do it right now. How much chutzpah you have to have, but it's holy chutzpah. You better do it. And today, this morning, we had said that. It said, don't be quiet until Hashem rebuilds Jerusalem. Amazing. So, you have your eyes. What is coming into your eyes? Do you have walls up? Walls up. Do you have walls up to not let stuff come into your consciousness that isn't good for it?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Like you're not looking at stuff that's bad for your spiritual consciousness. You know, keeping your eyes where they're meant to be. You're not listening to stuff, negative curse words and stuff. You're not eating stuff that's kashrut. Very, very important. You're not listening to Lashon Hara. Your mouth, what's coming out of your mouth, are you speaking Lashon Hara? You have gates. Did you know you have gates to your consciousness? You do. They're called your eyes, your ears, your nose, and your mouth. Those are your gates to your consciousness. You have to guard them. Guard them. Don't let anything come in that gate. If someone knocks on your door and you look through the little peephole and it's some big, terrorist with an axe, will you let him in? Bad idea. so too your whole consciousness. Don't let stuff into the consciousness. So that it says the walls were broken, the physical walls were broken, but spiritually, we were broken. We were broken people. What's okay about that?
Because we have to change to rebuild.
I'm going to rebuild. Baal Teshuvas are the greatest. You're the greatest people on the face of the planet. Me, we're the greatest. Because we were there. I was in Thailand, you know. I lived in Thailand. I was a DJ, dance music DJ. I had my walls were broken down, but I decided I'm going to put up my own walls now. This is my wall. Can't touch this. I got walls. So it's an okay thing. V'saraf apostomus et ta'ira. Shem, not Hashem. Apostomus burned a Torah scroll. I told you the Torah scroll story the other day, didn't I? I'm not going to tell it again. You remember the Torah scroll story? Burnt a Torah scroll. What does that mean? Eish HaTorah. It's the fire of Torah. You burned a Torah scroll. Now, our sages teach us an amazing thing, and we'll talk about this more on Tisha B'Av. That really, it should have been us that were punished. The Jewish people should have been wiped out. At that point, you're done. Golden calf, we saw by the golden calf. Hashem says, that's it, you're done. Starting again with Moshe. In the time of the Beit HaMikdash, when it was destroyed, Hashem basically said the same thing. He's going to destroy you, but instead of destroying the Beit HaMikdash, he destroyed stone. It's an important building, but he took it out on the building, not on the people. So the Torah was burnt. But the essence of what the Torah is can never be burnt. Every time you go against the Torah, in a way you're burning Torah, but it doesn't matter, because out of ashes come growth. We use ashes to make fertility, ashes. So what am I going to do with those ashes? And ashes you can regrow out of the ashes. So we would literally, I'm telling you, Eish Torah, I think maybe this is why he called it, because we're going to be burning, you've got to be on fire for the Torah. The Torah was set on fire, but now how are you going to engage in learning Torah? You're on fire with your Torah. And that means you're going to light up your neshama, because the Torah is food for your soul. Don't know if you feel that, but your neshama needs food. Just like your body needs food, your neshama needs food. And that's what Torah mitzvahs are. Torah is just a guidebook to an experience of God consciousness. And this is the guidebook. So if you have any appliance, you have to read the guidebook to know how to use it. So you have something called life. Do you know how to use life? Do you know what life is about and how to use it? Well, you're learning. That's brilliant. That's what the Torah is telling us. The Torah is telling us there's certain things that you've got to avoid. Don't do them. They're not good for you. And there's certain things you have to invest in. Do them. They're very good for you. And it's not always what you like and what you want and what feels good, actually. And that happens in every area of life. If you want to win the gold medal in the Olympic Games, you're going to have to do some things that are difficult. And you're going to have to avoid some things that are fun. But if your eye is on the prize, if you know what you're living for, why you want to do it, you're going to be invested. So the burning of the Torah is teaching us that we have to be alive. You've got to be alive with your Torah. You've got to be on fire. And what is fire in Judaism? Fire represents destruction. There are 4 forces that our sages speak about: earth, wind, fire, and water. Earth is stability. Wind is movement. Fire is destruction. And water is vitality. These are the opposites. But so fire can be a negative force of destruction. Fire can be arrogance and ego and burning other people and putting them down. But fire can be positive destruction, is you're destroying the evil and you're destroying the lower levels in yourself, and that's how you raise yourself up. And the last one, v'hamid selem b'heichal. They put an idol in the temple. An idol. So this is obvious. Idolatry and adultery, they're the same thing. It's like I'm worshipping and giving power and emotional intimacy to something that's not part of the relationship. So you're going to get married, Be'ezras Hashem, beautiful Jewish woman, and you're not even going to think about a woman who's not your wife, because that would be idolatry, that would be adultery. Adultery, and it's funny how they sound quite similar in English, but adultery and idolatry, you're giving power and you're worshipping and you're creating intimacy between you and something that you should not be intimate with, and it's getting in the way. This is the whole golden calf. It all goes back on each other. So anything you lose your spiritual consciousness for. So if you get upset about sports, and you get upset about food and clothes and money, and if you're cheating in your business because you want more money, whatever it is, that's a form of idolatry. You're worshipping something that shouldn't be worshipped. You're connecting, you're giving power. Nothing should have power over you. This is what it means to be enlightened in a way. You are completely in control of yourself. Nothing has power over you. Apart from Hashem. Apart from Hashem. I want Hashem's will to be my will. That's it. This was the whole of last week's Pasha. Bilam said, I don't care what Hashem wants, I'm going to do what I want. Abraham says, I don't care what I want, I'm going to do what Hashem wants. And we're the children of Abraham. Did you realize that your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather Abraham was also my great-great-great-great-grandfather Abraham? So it means you have his power. You have his immense spiritual power. An amazing thing. And this is one of the reasons why we're fasting. Are you fasting? Do you know why we're fasting? I once fasted for 7 days, but it wasn't a full fast. I drank 2 small cups of water a day. And on 3 of the days I had a small piece of papaya, and 1 of the days I had half an apple, because I climbed 3 hours up the mountain to meet the Dalai Lama. Different story, you can read it in my book. But we're fasting to show that I'm in control. Because most people are just reactive. I'm hungry, so I eat. I'm lonely, so I call a friend. I'm bored, so I do something. Most people are just reacting to discomfort, trying to get away from discomfort as soon as it happens. So we fast to say, I'm in control. I don't have to eat just because I'm hungry. This is my most famous story about Binyamin. Binyamin, when he was 7, came up to me and said, Abba, I'm hungry. And I said, that's okay. You can be hungry. And my wife was like, come on, he's 7 years old. And she's like, Binyamin, what do you want to eat? You can have this. We go. And Binyamin said to my wife at 7, he said, you know what, I'll be okay for a bit. Bam! Very good. So you don't know, you're in control now. You don't be a slave to food. Don't be a slave to what other people think of you. Don't be a slave to the weather. So when you're hungry today, you can either be upset and be like, I'm so hungry, what are you going to eat? Or you could think 2 things. Number 1, I don't have to eat just because I'm hungry, and I can be perfectly happy without eating. There's something called being hangry. Have you heard of hangry? Hangry means I'm angry because I'm hungry. It's not a grown-up man thing. It's a 6-year-old boy thing. If a 6-year-old, 5-year-old is behaving badly, you'll say, is he because he's just tired? Or you didn't have enough to eat. That's cute. But as how old are you? 21, 22, 30-year-old man, to be upset because you didn't sleep enough or you didn't eat enough, that's not our way. You just be like, okay, I can be tired and still be a mensch. How about that? I can come home from work, having had a really, really hard day at work, and walk into the house, and the house is a complete mess, and dinner's not ready, and my kids are crying, and it's a mess, and I can be totally cool. And be like, you know what? Everyone, I'll take control. Your wife, you go upstairs, take care of yourself, I'll feed the kids. You wanted to walk into a perfectly clean house with your dinner ready and your wife giving you a foot massage and your children getting your shoes, and it didn't happen. Not going to happen. But you're a man. You're a man. So that's fasting, number 1, self-control. But what it really means on a deeper level is, what are you hungry for? Because do you know what else is hungry apart from your body? Do you know your body gets hungry, so you give it food. Do you know what else gets hungry? Your neshama gets hungry. Your neshama is hungry. Until you put on tefillin, your neshama is like, I'm hungry. I want tefillin. Can you feel your soul's hunger? Yeah? Most people can't. I'm glad that you can. But most people are so overtaken with their body's hunger. You can really actually physically feel your body's hunger, so you feed it. Your soul also has hunger pains, but most people don't feel it because they're so taken up with their ego hunger and their body hunger. So when your ego hunger and your body hunger is so loud, you just can't hear your neshama hunger. So what we do is we create body hunger, but we say you're not allowed to feed it. So that the hunger, the actual physical hunger, you can use it to say, okay, what am I really spiritually hungry for? And that's what doing tshuva is. I just say if you fast but you don't do tshuva on this day, you wasted your time. You're not meant to fast just because, okay, I fasted. You're meant to be doing tshuva. And tshuva is a positive thing. It's not like I'm bad, I'm wrong. Tshuva is, where can I become better? How can I fix everything that's broken? How can I fix the luchot? How can I bring this korban tamid? How can I turn up, doing the right thing every day? How can I rebuild my walls that got broken down by the bad things I've done? How can I have burning passion for Torah? And how can I not worship the wrong things? You must be doing tshuva today. Once again, in a very joyful way. I'm going to be taking my own brokenness, I'm going to rebuild, and I'm going to take my spiritual hunger, and I'm going to start feeding my spiritual hunger. So this is actually a very, very spiritually potent day of the year. It's a very powerful day. And tomorrow we're having a young Ian. So fine. So now it's going to be leading into 3 weeks of this type of avoda, where we're not getting depressed. Our sages say really Tammuz and Av are the worst months of the year. They're very heavy months of the year. But Jewish wisdom teaches, even our brokenness, even our difficult, even our tshuva, even our stam, we should do it in a joyful way. That means it's an opportunity to rebuild, to have the second luchot, to become greater, bigger, better people. I'm really hungry.